Let's begin with this. Did you get sucked into playing the most obvious teaser in the history of the NFL?
Of course I did, 100%. How can you not play the Chiefs-Eagles teaser? And I know it sounds a little goofy and comical, but you're still playing an advantage teaser, albeit the Chiefs-Jags total a little high. It shouldn't be that high. Maybe we'll talk about the total. But, yeah, you're looking at that, both favorites on Saturday. Everybody's going to have it, but to me it's a teaser you have to play, whether you like it or not. Two far superior teams with good matchups on both sides of the ball in that teaser on Saturday. So, yes, I did. I'm guilty of it, and I'm happy to have that ticket.
Take us through that and start with the early game tomorrow, why you think the Chiefs cover as well and why it's such a tough matchup for Jacksonville, please.
So earlier on Tuesday, we had Kansas City given out. If you're looking at 53 this morning as well, I think the under is going to be a bet that potentially comes in a little bit too. So I like that under at 53 as well. A lot of bet for a divisional weekend. But when I'm looking at this matchup, the Chiefs, they're going to have success against this Jags defense, whether it be through the air or on the ground, where I specifically think there's a little bit of an extra focus for what they want to do this week. The Jags specifically struggle against two positions more than any other team. That's running backs and tight ends. You think about just the staple of the Chiefs offense. It's Travis Kelce, it's Jerick McKinnon. Both of them really sort of stabilize that offense. But now Juju's coming back, full 100% health. The entire team is back, really off of the bye, looking to be in a really good spot. And this Jags defense, again, guys, like you look down the stretch, anytime that they step up in class, they played the easiest schedule of opposing offenses all season. The last 6 weeks of the season, when they had to face a top above average offense, Cowboys, they're putting up 34. The Lions hung 40. Last week, the Chargers 31. In that first meeting against the Chiefs, it was nearly 500 yards. When they're not playing backup and third-string quarterbacks, it looks really, really different on the field. And so I think with all that said, Chiefs and under, but then also for a prop, Jerick McKinnon rushing yards. You can find that at 24.5 this morning. It's moved up a little bit. Still value. He's going to be on the field for a lot of snaps. He's going to get some runs. More so than he's maybe going to be targeted in the pass game as he usually is, and that's too short a number there at 24.5.
Okay, very good. Excellent breakdown. How about Saturday night? Why do the Eagles cover, and also a prop you like too, please?
So we'll get the prop out of the way. It's Daniel Jones rushing yards, and we'll say over 44.5, I think is a fair number to give this morning. Not playing Josh Allen rushing yards over. That's another one, and obviously the Bills game that's going to be popular, but this is the day ball angle. Last year, as well as the year prior, Allen rushing props in like high leverage games were as good as it came for as a prop bet. Like everyone was betting them every week. Everyone was doing well with them. It's kind of like the day ball staple of the offense. In these big games, he gets his QB running. What did we see last week? Daniel Jones goes for 78 yards before kneel downs. That was a spot where it was a Brian Daboll offensive game, high leverage situation in the playoffs against the Vikings. Team that plays a lot of zone coverage. He's still got Jones running a ton. So following suit here against the Eagles, who are a team that notoriously plays very soft and off the ball, doesn't allow a lot deep. Very similar style to what Minnesota played. We're going to see a spot where there's a lot of Daniel Jones runs again under Brian Daboll. With all that said, I think this is a spot where the Giants are going to be playing comeback. I'm looking at this number at 7.5. I don't think the reports about Hurts are nearly as bad as it is made out to be. I think the Eagles are going to have success on the ground. I think with Lane Johnson coming back and at least playing, he makes a big difference on that offensive line. And the Eagles are going to have to figure out a way where they just generate a little bit of pressure up front, because the Giants are going to get everything easy underneath, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily conducive to coming back if they're trailing. And we know the Eagles so good when they're playing from ahead. So I think the Eagles here undervalued. I think the Giants getting a bit too much credit for beating a really bad Vikings team. Again, we're looking at this number as the same spot we saw when it was in New York just a few weeks ago when everybody was playing within that game. Now we have the venue change, Eagles off the bye. I think we're too short here.
Let's follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Adam Chernoff, you can follow him on Twitter. He's at Adam Chernoff, and his podcast is called The Simple Handicap. During the break, you told us that in this Bills-Bengals game, you have maybe your favorite player prop in like 7 or 8 weeks. Can't wait to hear what it is and why you like it so much.
Yeah, I was going back and looking at just the differences between what I was betting, where the number was, and this Burrow completions over prop is showing a ton of value right now at 25.5 to the over, because I think one major thing is being talked about, but maybe not fully priced in to this completions number for him, which is right on par with where these numbers have closed for Burrow all season long. He's been a guy in the 23.5 to 25.5 range all season. That's what we're seeing right now again this morning. But it's what everybody's been mentioning, the offensive line for Cincinnati. They lost another starter last week in Williams. They're now going to be down 3 starters for this game against the Bills. Joe Burrow, second quickest release over the course of the season, but that is going to be pushed a little bit more, obviously, considering another offensive line starter is down. The Bills, as a defense overall, tend to concede things short and underneath as is. They're pretty content doing that, but also this is a Bills secondary that is far from 100% healthy as well. And so when you think about what Cincinnati wants to do on offense, what they're going to be forced to do because of the offensive line changes, that's going to mean a little bit quicker passing for Burrow. He's going to be getting the ball out quickly. But I think these receivers are going to do just fine against this secondary as well on these short passes. So looking at 25.5 completions to the over, number should be closer to 30. Really good bet here on Burrow over 25.5 completion.
Okay, and you like the under as well?
I like the under in the game. We gave it out on Tuesday at 51. And that was maybe generous, 50.5 widely available, but we're seeing 48.5 now this morning. I would wait. We're probably in a situation where this is the Sunday game. People are going to see Allen versus Burrow.
Yeah.
Probably going to see some over money creep back in, but I do think the under here is the side, especially if some weather creeps in as well. That's kind of lingering on both sides of the game, but just given the state of the Bengals offense and how the Bills are going to approach playing this Cincinnati defense, I think the under was a good look too.
Adam, this game touched 6 at 2 different spots in Las Vegas yesterday. If it hits 6 at most shops, are you going to be intrigued by that number with the Bengals?
I would at 6, yes. That's the only way that I could look at it. I've played nothing on the side in this one, so 6 would twist my arm, but yeah, at 5.5, I'm on the sideline.
And one more for people who missed it on Tuesday, the Dallas-San Francisco game over.
Yeah, and that's still bettable right now at 46. So again, we had a little bit better of a price on Tuesday, but if you're seeing 46 this morning, still like this game over. I think the Cowboys are going to have success against the Niners secondary, which, again, the last few weeks, especially last week, you go back and look at some of the highlights in that game against Seattle. The box score didn't show it, but there were receivers that were running wide open. And now I think the Cowboys, they're going to be able to take advantage of what Geno and company could not. So I think the Cowboys are able to move the ball, but I also think the 49ers going to have plenty of success as well, whether it be on the ground or throwing it through the air. Cowboys secondary is certainly beatable as well. And we did not see that on display against Tampa Bay. That game was just ugly all the way around. But we did see down the stretch some very mediocre at best quarterbacks take advantage of this Cowboys secondary. That pass rush for Dallas, a little bit beat up too. And against this offensive line for the 49ers, we're just clearing up so much space. I think San Francisco is going to have no problem moving the football here as well. So at 46, if you can still get that over, which you can this morning, that is still a good bet as well.
You said it to begin the segment. Sadly, we are down to 3 football weekends, and the season is over with. But these games are just
quickly,
awesome.
Didn't it? That was a quick season.
Oh, man, I know. It seems like it always is, but this year, for sure.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.